Lunch.
You are looking live.
Live at Lunch. Live at Lunch with Ott and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
What the hell's going on out here?
Now, here's Jimmy Ott and Charles Hannegriff.
Yeah, for some reason or another, you sound a little taller on radio.
Is it live? Is it live? Is it live?
From Rufino's on Highland Road, welcome to the Friday edition of Live at Lunch, 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge. Charles Hannegriff, Jimmy Ott, Max Gotro here on site. Hal's here, Barry the bartender's here, Liv is here.
Liv, Barry.
Yeah, we got
Howard.
The A-team is in the house
Mr.
today.
Curtis is on his way.
Absolutely. Jordan Kinch is back in the studio, wishing he was here because we got Lenten specials today.
That's right.
We're going to tell you about tell you about all of those things.
The ultimate sacrifice in South Louisiana. You have to eat seafood. We really?
We really are. We are really put upon it. We got a lot of college basketball to get to.
Do we?
All the way from the first game yesterday, which was the Ole Miss buzzer beater, all the way to Oklahoma and Kentucky late last night, and what a finish that was. We're going to get to all of that. But we start today with a sad note, and we want to send our deepest sympathies and our heartfelt wishes to Coach Skip Bertman. Sandy Bertman, his wife, passed away last night. Skip and Sandy were married for 63 years. Miss Sandy passed away last night at the age of 87. Jimmy, you and I have spent an enormous amount of our time around LSU baseball over the years, from trips to Omaha, being at the box, just LSU baseball, and for me especially being on the crew for all those years, we've been around the sport. I feel very confident in calling Sandy Bertman the first lady of LSU baseball for basically since Skip has been here. Because if you went out, other than the actual on the field coaching, if you saw an event that had LSU baseball, you saw Miss Sandy with Skip, whether it be things like the first pitch banquet or some of the get-togethers that they did in Omaha for the parents and the players.
That's right.
Skip's off the field camps and things like that. Miss Sandy was always there. Near as I could tell, she missed very, very few games. During Skip's managing time, she was a mainstay in the stands. You can see on a lot of the old College World Series highlight videos where they're showing in the stands, where they would, after the College World Series was over, they would put together these 30, 40-minute highlight films of the whole series, and you would see some of the human interest parts of it, some of the behind-the-scenes stuff, and Miss Sandy's all over that, okay? In the stands, watching the team get off the bus, the whole thing. Skip said so many times about their partnership, from what they did with LSU baseball, and how big and how important a part she was of that, and how many times, he had to say, listen, I'm sorry, I got to go out and run a camp, or I got to go out and run a promotion. I'm building LSU baseball, and it required an enormous amount of sacrifice for him and for her and for the girls, and she was right there every time. I saw Skip and Miss Sandy last Friday. One of their favorite places. One of our very good sponsors, longtime Mike Anderson's.
Oh, really?
Last Friday, I went in to pick up some food, and as I'm walking out, they were walking in, and I stopped and said hello. And that was unfortunately the last time I saw her. But as always, a smile. Hey, how you doing? Game's on. We're gonna miss her. She was, like I said, the first lady of LSU baseball. And a big loss, and I just my heart goes out to Skip. I know, 63 years of marriage is an unbelievable thing. Skip has been such a part of what we've done here and working with us, and just heartfelt sympathy today for Coach.
I mean, we've gotten closer to Skip, through retirement and working with him, and being invited to his, the statue unveiling and
his
things
birthday
like that.
Party when he turned 80. Yeah.
So, I mean, but being a coach's son, Charlie, I can't, I just want people to realize that, that the dad, the husband, the man of the home is away from home as a coach, at all levels, and certainly Skip. And so it does take the wife can make it really harder on the coach or be really supportive.
You know this as well as anybody.
That's what I'm trying to say. Yeah. So it's it makes for it's an important piece. There's no question. And man, it's just our heart goes out to Skip. So, our prayers and condolences without respects, no question. But, yes, certainly a fixture of LSU baseball in all competition. Sandy's there. Yeah. So.
God bless Miss Sandy.
And, of course, I'm good friends with the Musgroves as well, and they're, Miss Crystal and Miss Sandy, together a lot of times. So
it's that LSU baseball fraternity, that family, that it's been going on since Skip got here. Whether you played for him in the 80s or the 90s, or and then LSU baseball into the 2000s, and all of those members of the original coaches committee. And Miss Sandy went out, and she got to know all the wives. Okay, we saw this. She was a real integral part of what Skip built, and Skip will tell you that. I know that because Skip has told us that so many times. So
and as far as what LSU baseball is now, the monster it is, it wasn't always like that. Let's just put it that way. And she's with him every step of the way, in building that, and it going through some much leaner times, to get to what it is now. It still blows me away. I mean, just the monster that LSU baseball is in this town.
The vision that he had and what he was able to do.
It's just different. It's different.
Unprecedented. I don't know that any other baseball program could ever say that they built what
Charlie.
Skip did.
There's no place in the world that has the interest level, the passion, the emotional investment in college baseball like they do in the Baton Rouge in Louisiana in the LSU. You win. Everybody loves a winner. They weren't winning. They wouldn't be there. But it just it's unique. Truly,
yes.
Starkville. They care. Starkville isn't as big of a town. It just isn't. And they haven't won as much. Now for what they've won. Yeah, they care, and their administrative support. I mean, that stadium. I mean, that thing is fun, man. But it's just the whole overall. Hey, man, how's our pitching look? How's it? In like November. Like what? We're in football season. It's unreal. It's unreal.
So God bless Miss Sandy Burtman passing away at the age of 87. We are here at Rufino's College Basketball Boy. Yesterday, like I said, from that first game, the Ole Miss buzzer beater, and that was a terrific
Arkansas
game.
Blew it.
They did.
They blew it.
They really did, all the way to a terrific overtime game between Texas and Texas A&M. Double overtime, excuse me. The Longhorns look like they are in, and Oklahoma.
And don't they look like a tournament team?
They certainly have. So in these two games, that was a terrific
battle.
game. Yeah.
That was a good game.
We were treated to some really, really good basketball at the SEC tournament yesterday. Oklahoma and Kentucky was the nightcap. This game was close almost the entire way. Kentucky kind of opened up. I think it was as much as an 8-point lead.
12.
Was it 12?
It was 12, and it was 11 at the 2-minute mark.
Okay.
I went back this morning.
Okay.
To make sure.
You got the
12 was the biggest lead, maybe 3.5, 4 minutes. But it was 11. As the 2-minute mark came, it was 11. And Butler got hurt again, so their ball security had been compromised. And when they pressured to try and get back, they look like a U10 team trying to break a really good athletic young team. I mean, it was.
This has been a recurring theme, not just these teams, but the amount of botched inbounds attempts.
Did you watch Shaka Smart yesterday at the end of the Xavier Marquette game?
I did not get a chance to see that.
They ran plays. They had because at the time where it was, they had. I think Marquette had maybe a 2-point lead in the ball, 2 or 3 in the ball. Where it was an obvious foul situation with like 30 seconds to go. They only had 14 fouls. So they had to get 3 inbounds in. Then they gave a play up and get 4th. They had to get 5 inbounds in. They ran a play every time. 5 for 5 on getting the inbound in.
You would think this is the stuff that they work on the first days of practice, you know. Listen, I'm not a basketball coach, but
the games have been lost. Kansas, Houston, Hall of Fame coach Bill Self. But they just running to try and get open. No, he's running plays. They did the thing where the baseline, they had 4 guys. It was almost like a football set, quads, receivers, and ran in. But the point is, and they ran some picks on the other. And they ran plays 5 for 5. Getting it in.
An amazing.
It preserved the win.
Absolutely.
Kentucky should have lost last night because they couldn't do it.
What a tough shot, the game winner. I thought,
damn Oklahoma transfer.
I know. I thought he was behind the backboard when he. This is a left-handed runner from the baseline. This is not the easiest shot in the world. And I thought he was.
Beggars can't be choosy at that point. It was for the situation. It was as good of a shot as they can expect, a high quality of shot. But was it different? No, it was different. Yes, there's no doubt. They don't shoot. But the damn they look so good. Big Blue Nation, was in full effect, and the bubble teams, even in a loss, doesn't Oklahoma? Don't you get a little respect for them?
Yes, I think that they're in, and Lenardi does too. He's got 14 teams now.
No, 14 are in.
Texas is the last team in right now, but he's got 14 in.
14 are in.
From the Southeastern Conference.
That's got to feel good. Otega Owe twice.
Yeah,
Daggers
got him twice.
His former team.
He went to 84-83 game in Norman. He hit the game winner.
He sure did.
With how much?
83-82.
83-82.
That was with 6 seconds.
83-82 and 85-84. Wow. What a deal.
Okay, the whole deal. Hedgens for Clippers and things like that. Well, my picks, Otterlocks can be biblical sometimes. Wednesday, he giveth. Thursday, he taketh away. Okay? So anyway, they 4-1 to 1-4. Villanova had the lead outright.
All right, I lost right along with you.
Okay, but do your middle. What if it does? It ensures your original bet. Kentucky, boom, middle/edge. We'll save some there too as well. So now Texas, I gave someone. Boy, really could have had a middle with Mississippi State, Texas. Hit a middle on the buzzer beater with Ole Miss against Arkansas.
Mm-hmm.
So but I just don't see how. Give me something where, and I have to tell you, Charlie, I spent as much, I don't know exactly, but it felt like as much screen time. I'm at the Queen with my walk-ons in the Queen with my laptop and phone, and I spent as much screen time as I did viewing time. And it's just, there's a lot. It's the busiest day in college basketball.
Yeah.
The weaker conference and weaker teams are out of the way. You have as many games yesterday, double sessions by all the major conferences instead of just night games by a big part of them today. And it's just, you gotta, it's a little bit of a job. But still, with what we have available to us now with live betting, you're just throwing money away if you don't manage it properly.
Our 3 contributors yesterday, Matt Humans, Kenny White, and Randy McKay, went Humans and Kenny White went a combined 5-2. Randy McKay, we were talking about those picks at the end, went 5-3, so 10-5 for our contributors yesterday. Boise State got a win that keeps their tournament hopes alive. North Carolina got a win.
Boise State's another one. You had San Diego State. You got all kinds of middle opportunities. Iowa, same thing. All over the place.
Louisiana Tech lost a heartbreaker to Middle Tennessee.
How much did they lose by?
2.
Okay.
In double overtime. Middle Tennessee hit a 3, I believe it was, a corner 3 at the end of regulation, less than a second to go to get the game to overtime. And then overtime was both overtimes were back and forth. Very, very competitive game. Middle Tennessee wins it by 2 in that one.
Tech hasn't been to the tournament since Karl Malone. Mike White never went.
I thought one of those 90s teams with Randy White. Maybe
Randy White.
I'd have to look it up.
What's a PJ that went to Did they make
PJ Brown?
Yeah.
I don't know if the PJ Brown team.
It's a Dello kind of question.
I'd have to look it up.
Text Dello. Fried oyster toast over here. These are the appetizer featured today here at Ruffino's today and throughout the weekend. Panko fried oysters, smoked tomato butter, bone marrow bordelaise with pickled shallots, a seared venison loin, venison sauce piquant, rice grits with the coriander creme, spinach and artichoke dip with the lump crab meat crispy wonton. That might be something we could snack on, Charlie, in some of the show breaks.
I like snacking.
Or we can do it on the air, and Gordy can put up Yummy, quit eating. Remember you said that?
I do.
Drop.
He made Anna cut the promo.
The entree features seafood stuffed redfish with the Antouille velouté, cormac choux. Suggested wine pairing is a Peugeot Chardonnay out of Napa. Oh, here we go. Bouillabaisse, red snapper, mussels, crispy potatoes, fennel-rich and spicy broth. Suggested wine pairing and archery salmon peanut. I knew it was going to Pinot Noir. I love me some Pinot Noir. Miss the chef from Natchez, a private dinner for me and Rohan one night.
Nice.
She made us the bouillabaisse. She called it a cioppino.
Okay.
So some people call it bouillabaisse, some people call it cioppino. I have to ask exactly what the difference is there. But anyway, and then the braised Wagyu short ribs, mascarpone, polenta, rose carrots with the beef jus. Here at Ruffino's. Why do we?
The Randy White team did make the tournament, but that was in 1989. They made it once since then.
Oh, that was right after.
Right after.
Malone was like 87, huh? 85.
85, yeah.
85.
Yeah.
85.
And then they went in 1991 as their last trip to the tournament. Ron Ellis, who played the draft pick of the Phoenix Sun, played about 15 years over in Europe.
This is why I remember exactly the year. You're better on those year things. It's been
timeline.
And we're kind of tribute to Skip, those year things.
Yes.
But 85, I watched Wayman Tisdale's 4-rim bouncer buzzer beater against Louisiana Tech and Karl Malone in Hatcher Dormitory.
Wow.
You know where Hatcher is?
Yeah.
It's right next to Hodges.
It's still the same place
across the parking lot from Tiger Stadium.
Have they remodeled it since you've been there?
I hope so.
Yeah, I would say for sure. Live from Ruffino's, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
On 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
And today's show is also brought to you in part by Coastal Capital Advisors, because when it comes to retirement, no two situations are alike. Let the professionals at Coastal Capital Advisors do for you what they've done for me, which is work for a lifetime plan. They'll get with your business partners, your legal team, your tax professionals to make sure your retirement goals are achieved. Doesn't matter where you are, what age you are, or what your financial income is. They will work with a plan that is tailor-made for you. I know for sure because they've done that for me. For more information, contact Philip Fontenot and his staff, 337-981-1376, or online at coastalcapitaladv.com. Advisory services provided by New Age Advisors, member FINRA, SIPC.
All right. You know I'm usually in Las Vegas for Champions Week, and it's funny. It's kind of catching on. A lot of people love 48 games yesterday. That's as many as the entire first weekend of the NCAA tournament, Thursday through Sunday. You don't have as many today because some of the you don't have double sessions for some of the conferences that are the finals are tomorrow. Let's go to our buddy Chris Massaro, professional sports gambler based out of San Diego, who's in Las Vegas, who's at Circle, but it's his 40s. It's in the 40s and a little under the weather maybe right now. It's not the Las Vegas flu, Charlie, but my man is a little bit less than 100%.
40 degrees in Vegas, man.
But this Boston accent, we got about 65% of you today, Chris. 50%?
Yeah.
What kind of percentage are you today?
I'm in a little bit of rough shape. The voice is extra hoarse today, so we're going to try to get through. As your producer says, you have to suck it up. It's March Madness, so we're sucking it up. And what happened was I walked home Tuesday night from Piero's, and it was freezing cold. I walked home back to the West Gate, and I think I caught a little cold, a little tickle in the throat, and the voice is a little off today. But what can you do?
Chris, I'll start off with this, but the inbounds play in college basketball, it is flat out lost games. 90% of the coaches don't run any type of play or any pick. And then we saw the Marquette-Xavier game last night because Xavier had to foul in the last 35 seconds or so multiple times because they had like only 4 team fouls at that point. And then they settled for layups, so they had to foul. It was like 5. And Marquette and Shaka Smart ran plays every time, different plays, and went 5 for 5 on inbound. Have you noticed this as much as me? How some okay. I mean, it is.
No. And I think one of the biggest problems is none of these teams have a pure point guard anymore. There's very few, and in these clutch situations, if you've noticed, like these end of game situations, teams are blowing ridiculous leads, and you saw it earlier in the week. Georgia Tech was up 10. I forget against Virginia. They're up 10 with 60 seconds. It went down to 2 points just because they can't get the ball in bounds, and then they don't have a solid point guard that can make a free throw. So yeah, I mean, if you have a quality coach, Shaka, quality point guard, makes a huge difference. Come these clutch situations where a lot of these teams are not used to it. I'm not sure if they're not teaching it, but I totally notice what you're talking about.
Well, you can just watch. They just kind of run to the ball. Most teams just do that instead of trying to run. It used to be always they'd run like a stack. Shaka ran like this, like 4 wide receiver set on the baseline out of band, and kind of ran like routes, and it kind of broke up. But there was some deception. There was some planning there. But what you want to do, you want to try and set something up to free up your best free throw shooter. This is not brain surgery. But it is lost. It is really lost. But all right, the old conversation that we have, the hedge or not hedge, and okay, do I overdo it sometimes in football? Yes, but please, if you are not middling or hedging in college basketball around this time, these teams that are playing their last game, they just don't quit. They just don't quit. And you see in the swings, and then you see in some dogs that are in great possession. I mean, Villanova last night, it just, there was the first part of the middle protecting your original bet. I mean, it saved me a lot of money yesterday.
I agree, and it's funny you mentioned that game because I had Villanova +7, had a money line. I really thought they played a great first half, and the line comes out -6 UConn, and Villanova's up 5. I was sitting with humans. I go, wow, that's more than I thought. I think Villanova's going to win. And what the heck happened? There was a 23-4 run to end the game. I couldn't believe it. I mean, and I did not hedge on that one. So, but I'm with you. I like to try to monetize too, especially if you have a money line and you can get a little bit back. I had Creighton yesterday, second half, -11 to get it down to 4. But as soon as they got real close, I came back and took some DePaul, +2.5. I almost hit the middle. But you got to do these things because the middles are so big, and it's worth a shot. Like if you're going to sit there and take the loss, that's your own fault because you can really, you're not trying to thread a needle. You're trying to get it through a huge tunnel because there's spots where you're going to have 10 points either way.
Yeah, Charlie, you first.
I thought that Creighton game was a great spot for an in-game bet, even if you didn't have an original bet on the game, which I didn't. But when I watched the first 4 minutes of the second half, they were down 15 at the half. They cut it to 10, and you could still get Creighton at plus a point at that point. I thought they were going to win the game. It took a while. They had to go double overtime, but watching that, I didn't think DePaul was 15 points better than Creighton for 40 minutes. I thought that was a good spot, even if you didn't have a bet on the game prior.
I mean, it saved me money, Villanova, Connecticut. It saved me money in Kentucky and Arkansas. And then, you hit middles. I hit Ole Miss, Arkansas. I hit SMU, Clemson. I mean, I hit USC, Purdue. I mean, and those middles cure a lot of wrongs. But for the most part, Stanford and Louisville was another one. So Iowa, Illinois. I mean, it was, Boise State, San Diego State. There was, covering a lot. I don't know. I'm still trying to figure out how. Am I being picky, Chris? Should A&M, if I had A&M plus money in the money line, Texas original +6, should A&M have won that game?
That game, I'm going to say no. I think Texas was the right side the whole way. They were very, very. There was a 90-second moment in that game with both teams.
No, money line. I'm talking about money line. I'm talking about strictly just win the game. win the game. No doubt Texas was the right side. I had Texas plus
no,
6.
I think Texas deserves to win the game.
Okay.
I think it's funny you bring that up because yesterday there was 25 games, major conferences. Only 2 outright underdogs won, Texas and BYU. And BYU is questionable as an underdog. So I'm a huge underdog player, and it's a good point that we're discussing this with the hedging because I'm playing mostly dogs, and you got to realize that these dogs they're not, in this year, they're not holding on because as the stats proved it out, 2-23 straight up underdogs yesterday. So that's an angle you got to look at. I'm trying to find dogs today, but I'm getting gun shy because they're just not coming through.
Charlie, remember I told you, this is not the week for those money line parlays with the favorites, right? Okay,
right.
Yeah, the famous last words. Another one that saved me some money.
Just because I hit one, it doesn't mean
no.
Still wasn't a great play.
It's pitiful advice in hindsight,
well,
okay? But anyway, North Carolina Wake Forest was another one. I had Wake Forest plus the points, hedged North Carolina money line, and they won. They not only came back and won the money line, but they beat me on the spread as well, so I'm a loser overall in that one. So, yeah, what was that again, 23 out of 25 underdog?
Yeah, 2 and 23. Yeah, I didn't count the Atlantic 10 games, but Mountain West, SEC, Big East, Big 12, Big 10, 2 and 23 outright for the underdogs.
The high profile.
Only winners BYU and Texas.
I did step out. Tell me if this was a bad beat or not. I did kind of a double barrel. So I had some Clemson middle, but I had a pretty decent sized play. I think it was like plus 230 on SMU money line. Bad beat or not, had a 5-point lead, maybe midway through first half, and then Clemson, the more mature team, they're old. What you think, Chris?
I had the same bet. I had SMU plus 7 and money line. I will say that I thought the referees were way too involved in that game, and I'm not saying SMU would have hit the last second 3, but to give the ball back to Clemson after a 7-minute review where you called the ball off of Clemson and that it was SMU's ball, and then you review it for 7 minutes, there's nothing conclusive, and then they give the ball to Clemson. I thought that was ridiculous. I also thought it was ridiculous that SMU had 40-something points in the paint, but somehow Clemson shot double the free throws. So some of these games are just the referees, and like, for example, I had Baylor yesterday covered. I had them in the money line, but they foul. They get put 2 fouls immediately on DJ Edgecombe right off the bat. I mean, that's their best player. The referees are just too involved in these games, and it pains me to watch them. It's like you gotta be on the right side. You also have to deal with the refs as well. It seems like it's too much refs. We're not here to watch the refs.
Texas Tech and Baylor, another one. I had Texas Tech minus the points, and they were in. So I middled with Baylor because they were up big, and they raced right through. And so, right through the middle into a loser, but did cover some of it. All right, Chris. Hey, come on now, get up to the plate. No quitting on us. All right, you're in Vegas. Give us a picks. You got a few that you looked at today. I know it's early out there, but who?
I'm going to go. I mean, this kind of seems square, but I'm going over Bama, Kentucky. They scored the Kentucky game last night. They scored 169, and neither team even shot it well from 3. I think this is going to be a racehorse type of game. Kentucky's feeling themselves, not playing much defense. As we saw last night, they can give up a lead in the blink of an eye. I went to the bathroom. I came back, and Oklahoma had the lead. Another one I had money line that slipped away. I go, how the hell did that happen? I was just happy to try to get a cover. But, I'm going to go over the total in that game. I really like Maryland today, but I already have them plus 400 to win the Big Ten. So this Illinois team, they've been driving me crazy all year. They shoot way too many threes. For a team that is bottom of the barrel in three-point shooting, they're a team that, if they do hit their threes, they have such good bigs that they could make a run. But I'm just not very convinced that Brad Underwood, I know we've talked about him throughout the year, he seems to be, I don't know what the word is. Like, everyone thought he was one of the best coaches in the country. This year, he has not impressed me at all. So I do like Maryland, but I have him in the Big Ten, so I'm not sure if I'm going to play extra on it.
I like that, though. I like Maryland -1. Okay.
Yeah, I like Wisconsin as well.
Yes.
They lost by 2 points at UCLA, Paulie, earlier this year. But that game, the big guy Mara had his best game of the year. 7-4 big man. He had 22 points. He was 7 for 7 from the field and 8 from 12 from the free throw line. And that was like by far his best game of the year. I'm not expecting that. I'm not sure how much you take away from Mick Cronin's comments that he's not trying to win the tournament. It could be a bunch of baloney, like Calipari said the same thing. But I like the way Wisconsin's playing. They have a little revenge on their mind after that clunker against Penn State last week. So that's a little short number, but it's moved. It was a pick-em. I think it's up to 1.5 or 2 now.
Yeah,
so
it's 1.5.
There's a few that I like. I'm trying to find some dogs that are going to bark, but some of these big spreads, it's really tough. I mean, you really want to step in front of Auburn or Tennessee. Really tough. I mean,
I'll step in front of Tennessee. I'll step in front of Tennessee at 9.5. Hell yeah, I'll step in front of Tennessee. No, Texas is playing a little bit more of the
win though.
Man, look, it's fine. We seen us, cash tickets with a team that had 6 overtimes in the previous 2 games. Okay, so I mean, I'm fine with that. Texas is emphasizing they're playing both sides of the floor a little bit right now. I mean, they are a different team. And look, and Trey Johnson is he's their guy. I know, but his shooting percent, he had 0 for 14 against Oklahoma on Saturday. And then the first game against Vandy, he wasn't great as well. But still, they're a different team right now. That's Paul Stone's alma mater, baby. He was on them yesterday with me as well. We like that one. So, anyway.
Another one I'll give you, and I like the matchup, even though they blew a big first-half lead a couple weeks ago when Creighton was hosting UConn, but they already beat them at UConn. They really match up well because UConn does not play great interior defense. So I think, and I also think if they're hitting the threes, Creighton at 4 points. I know there's a big home court advantage at MSG for UConn, but 4 points seems like a lot to give a pretty solid Creighton team that's getting a second chance at life after coming back from beating DePaul. So I think 4 points is a lot. I mean, if you look at UConn in the first half yesterday, they weren't looking too sharp.
We're overdue for a break for about 10 seconds, though. Your thoughts on, I love this matchup, okay? I mean, from style of play to physical appearance. Is there any more different matchup? Charlie, you want to finish my sentence?
BYU Houston.
Yes.
I love BYU today.
35-year-old grown men versus the Mormon kids, this is a style, offense and finesse and shooting against bricklayers and rebounding and anything in that one. I've been riding BYU, man.
I'm gonna be on BYU because I've been going against Houston for the last couple of weeks. They've been waiting to get beat. They didn't look good yesterday. It was a 5-point game to Colorado late.
Right.
They had Colorado plus the 18. Let's go with the Mormons. Let's see if we can get it done.
Yes, indeed. Listen, look, raspiness is a good thing for a radio voice. You ain't 50, 60%. You're about 140% today, Massaro.
Bolognese is a meat sauce. Cioppino is seafood. Mussels, clams, octopus, and shrimp in the pasta.
There we go. Look at that. Would you know Massaro was going to give us the difference between Cioppino and Bouillabaisse?
Well, if you tell me his last name's Massaro, then yeah, for sure.
You're the best, brother. Thank you. Good luck today.
All
right. Yes, indeed. Don't forget our friends at Legacy Title. Chad Reynolds, Legacy Title for all of your real estate closings. 296-0060. Full-service title company servicing all of South Louisiana. Great staff at Legacy Title. Ashley Bonham Donald, Mariana Broussard Haynes, Adrian Reese-Galata, Michael Platt, and the Smiths, Natalie and Bradford Smith. Of course, Chad Reynolds, our leader. Buying, building, refinancing. Nobody chooses but you. Choose Chad Reynolds and Legacy Title. 296-0060.
Live at Rufino's Live at Lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Jimmy, Charlie, and Troy. 3 best buddies sitting around talking sports bets. Let's welcome in Troy Macker from Bet Rivers.
All right, Troy, we're running behind today. I apologize. You tell us, man. What's the highlights of the action in championship week?
Yeah, well, the most wagered on game is one that's already tipped off, and even though by the end of the day I expect this game still to be one of the most wagered on games, that's Michigan State and Oregon. Michigan State was minus 6.5. That was a heavily bet on side, but so was Oregon. Those are the 2 and 3 most wagered on plays of the day. Auburn money line against Ole Miss is actually the most wagered on play and the most popular. Ole Miss is kind of in that weird tier where they have been ranked for a lot of the year. SEC is obviously the best conference in the country, but once you kind of look past Florida, Auburn, Tennessee, Alabama, you really can't figure out what tier some of those teams like Ole Miss and Mississippi State, are they tier 2 teams or are they tier 3 teams? I tend to believe that Auburn should wipe the floor with Ole Miss, even though, anything can happen in conference tournament madness, but we haven't really seen it. There haven't been a lot of big upsets. Chalk, for the most part, I would say the higher seeds are winning about 85% of the time. Now, we're seeing a lot of close games. Yesterday, I think well over 60% of the games were decided by 2 possessions or less. So, there may not be a lot of blowouts. And we are seeing some double-digit favorites. So that's really the stuff I see. Is I think a lot of these games are going to be tight, but I don't anticipate a lot of, the 13 seeds or the 10 seeds, which there are not a lot remaining, pulling off big upsets.
Yeah, famous last words to Charlie. I warned him about moneyline parlays on the favorites this week, and now not minus the Atlantic 10 in the other ones like the Southland and some others, the smaller ones. In the major conferences, the favorites won the game, money line, 23 out of 25 games. This is not your typical championship week, Charlie.
And we don't know that it's going to hold today. I want to ask you about Duke's futures odds, because we were watching the game yesterday, and obviously when flag went off, and the pictures of him in the wheelchair on the bench, we saw a spike in their futures odds go. They went from 3-1 at a lot of sites, but not yours, to 7-1. Today they're back down to 3-1. You guys held steady. Max is giving me this info. You never moved the Duke futures odds. So the thoughts on the flag injury and what you guys were thinking there?
Yeah, I think if the X-rays had came back positive and it was more than just a rolled ankle or ankle sprain, you would have seen movement. But our policy at Bet Rivers is to not overreact to uncertain news. Injuries do happen, but there's levels of severity to them. And I saw some comments, people questioning why we didn't move it. Well, if you're asking as someone who's looking to bet on Duke, why would you want to? Why are you going to bet on Duke when the best player in the country is getting injured? Your benefit is if you think that is going to impact the championship race. We haven't moved Auburn's odds. We haven't moved Florida's odds. We haven't moved Houston's odds. And likely at other books, those shortened up. So if you are, looking for updated odds and you're confused or upset that we haven't updated ours, there's value to be had if you think this is going to impact the race. Because I imagine Auburn, moved from 3-1, which is the same as Duke, to probably 225. Maybe Houston probably got down to 400. So if you were able to get them at Bet Rivers, you could have gotten Houston at plus 650. Auburn at plus 300. So, there are two sides to a coin here. And I think because it was early in the tournament, he'll have basically a week, and that first game will be against the 16 seed. Duke doesn't have a lot of depth. We obviously have seen 16 seeds win before, but, I don't anticipate it happening. There isn't an overreaction is not something we want to do here where, you're sticking your neck out for increased volatility of futures betting.
Oh, trust me. I'm owning the sports book, and if they jumped it from 3.5 to 7, we're having a talk, okay? Because this is the only thing you can't overrate. The other thing, now, once the tournament starts and say Auburn is knocked out, well, then that changes, okay, and you reduce, all right? But injury, there's nothing, okay, a quality win. A quality win is the most, or another injury for, like Auburn's odds. But an injury, you can only go down. I'm not going to rush and try and, when I got limited information, and try and give people double the odds when, in fact, he's going to be just fine, and they're going to take precautionary. There's no break in the bone, and so, no, what the hell are you, what is the rush? On this, because you can only get burned. So, anyway, I got another story for you too, Charlie. What the guy at the sports book yesterday asked me. So, anyway, you like this with me working both sides of the counter, like you talk about. So you'll like that one. But no, this is you can the Kenyon Martin thing when it goes down. Well, you can rush. Okay, fine. Somebody beat me to raising Cincinnati's odds from plus 500 to plus 1,200. That year, right. And when he went down. But, okay, that's fine. But we don't want to get burned, okay, because the 7-1s are gone.
And this was right after the game too. We didn't have a lot of info.
But you did we get confirmation? I know we got a tweet on that. Did you get confirmation on what book that there was actually a book that
there was one that moved into 7-1.
There's just one?
Yeah.
Okay.
At least one.
Okay.
At least one.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Troy, the $1 million question though. Are the dogs going to bark today? I mean, are we going to get some upsets? Remember, the whole conversation, and then even more so since Cooper Flagg's injury yesterday, is how much should the teams like Auburn, Duke, and the big dogs emphasize winning this conference tournament?
Right. Yeah. So I'll answer your first question about dogs upsetting. I think there could be more than in any other day this week, simply because the teams are going to be more evenly matched, especially in a lot of these semifinals. You know, we're seeing tons of chalk, 1 versus 4, 2 versus 3, maybe some 1 versus 5, but there's not a lot of the 7s advancing or the 6s advancing. And what that means is that you're going to have more evenly matched teams, and there's going to be less taking the night off from a top team. They're like, we should be able to play 80% and still beat this 13 seed or this 11 seed. A lot of these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 seeds, they've caught each other throughout the season. So I do think there is going to be more upset potential today, just because the quality of teams remaining. It is very interesting there. I do like seeing the top seeds advance. Because especially at the mid-major level, because that ensures that you get the best teams from the mid-majors that aren't always guaranteed to make the NCAA tournament. And I am of the, Max and I have been doing a little bit more work in European soccer, and so there's a lot of different cups and competitions, and teams have to, figure out when they're playing their top squads, what the motivation is if they have a big game this weekend. I think you look at conference tournaments for ranked teams and top seeds and big conferences. Like a Maryland team, I've been hammering all along. They have 5 guys. Their 5 starters are amazing. They all average double figures. They literally have no bench.
Troy, it is March. It is March. Please don't encourage Max with that damn overseas soccer right now. Please.
No, and I understand that the American philosophy is wildly different. We don't play for ties. I totally get that. However, I'm not saying you don't go for it, but if you find yourself down 17 early, you came out flat just because, and someone's banged up, I wouldn't empty the tank in a quarterfinal to get back in it if you have a limited bench. I would never suggest saying, hey, let's not go for it. We got bigger fish to fry. Yep. But if a tournament scenario presents itself where you're getting beat, the guys are listless, someone comes up lame or something, then you say, okay, let's not empty the tank here, because we do have more important things we're going for.
Troy, you're the best, man. Sorry about the short time we're overdue. I appreciate it. Good luck to you this weekend. We'll get a whole recap on Monday. Thank you, Troy.
Thanks, guys.
All right, don't forget our friends at United Community Bank. United Community Bank with locations from Baton Rouge to Golden Meadow. We've been serving the people of Southern Louisiana for over 50 years. Our great team of bankers, Heath Meir, Nicole Glover, Hunter Creed, David Campbell, David Henry, and Prentice Wilkes. United Community Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Live at Rufino's Live at Lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at Lunch with Odd and Hanny from Rufino's on Highland Road on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Late 7-0 run for Michigan State. They open up a 10-point lead at the half on Oregon, 42-32.
Auburn 12.5 over Ole Miss.
It's a pass for me, Jimmy. There's better places to put my money. I'd take Ole Miss if Auburn hadn't lost 2 in a row. I don't like the game.
I'm taking Auburn.
You're taking Auburn minus 12.5.
Chalk eater.
Also, Wichita State and Memphis going at the top of the
revenge
hour.
Spot for Memphis.
Minus 8.5.
Yeah.
That game is on ESPN 2. We're back with Bruce Marshall on the other side. Live at Rufino's Live at Lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at Lunch with Odd and Hanny from Rufino's on Highland Road on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Charlie?
Sir?
Back over here at Rufino's. I'm sorry, Charlie. I'm just going to get this noon in. Bring in
Okay,
Bruce.
go ahead.
We'll bring action down.
We're beginning.
Sure. Damn, Charlie. Brucey don't mind. He's been that's my boy.
Keep my I'm gonna earn my keep around here. Bruce Marshall, CBS Sports Line.
All right,
and
here's
of course,
the best number.
Ben, our guy for over a long time. Bruce, good afternoon. Happy championship week. How you doing?
Happy championship week. I'm actually down in Florida this week, so I'm out of Vegas, but for the first time in a while during championship week. But I've seen enough conference tournaments in my time, so I thought I'd just.
But where's the level of importance for these conference tournaments right now, Bruce?
Depends on which conference.
Sure.
And the bigger conferences, I don't know. I mean, it's still. I mean, you can tell the atmosphere in these games, and we've had some really good ones. I mean, the Kentucky-Oklahoma last night, and Stanford-Louisville. I mean, the ACC and the SEC still seem to bring it. The SC-Purdue game was really good in the Big Ten. But some of these other leagues, Jimmy and Charlie, I don't know. I mean, I'm watching these games in the A10 BC at the Cap One Arena. There's nobody in the stands, and same thing down in Fort Worth last night, and. The American. I don't know who's going to show up there. So some of these tournaments, I mean, I wonder if they ought to play some of these, in smaller venues because, man, it just, if you can get lost these games in a 18,000 seat arena when only 2,000 people show up, just loses some atmosphere. At least the big conferences give us something to watch.
Brucey, we had 10 in and then 2 out in the SEC and 4 bubble teams entering the last week of the regular season. Georgia, Oklahoma, Texas, and Arkansas all went, how about this, 3-1. They all went 3-1 to this point. Now Texas is the one remaining team right now, and those are all quad 1 wins. It looks like 14 of 16. What do you make of this?
It could be. And I just wonder now if the pecking order, especially if Texas wins again today. The one thing is when we often look at in championship week here, and we look at these tournament games and we think, okay, team wins, like, okay, that means they're in. Well, you're in, you got to knock somebody off. And I wonder, about conference tournaments. I remember 3 years ago and run all the way to the final, and they lost that game to Tennessee, and we thought, A&M's done enough to get in, and here they didn't. They got kicked to the NIT instead. So we don't know. There's one other thing to remember. The bubble could still shrink a couple of spots here in the next few days. And one, I mentioned the American a second ago. If Memphis gets knocked off down in Fort Worth, that becomes a 2-bid league. Virginia Commonwealth, though they're not as surely in the tournament as Memphis, they get knocked out in the A10, that could become a 2-bid league. So the bubble could still shrink, but I do think there's a chance you could get 14 SEC teams in there. We're living in Greg Sankey's world, and that's, I think it could happen, and Texas is making it interesting.
The football didn't work out as good as normal. So, but how many times have we talked to you over the years, Bruce? I mean, I don't know how long you've been doing this with us, 20, 25 years. Why isn't the SEC any better in basketball? Why isn't the SEC any better? Well, look, I just said, I mean, it's just the way it falls. And people, they're 6-12 in their league, or they finish. They don't look at it like that, and. If Oklahoma didn't have neutral site wins against Louisville, Michigan, and Arizona, they would probably be in. Georgia with a neutral site win against St. John's, but they did. And they blasted the non-conference competition, 14-2 in the SEC-ACC matchup, and so this was coming. When we said this, how long ago? I said, get ready. This is coming. So,
did these bids from the SEC maybe come at the expense of the next biggest league, which is the Big Ten? Or did the last 2 SEC teams get in at the expense of Indiana and Ohio State, who both lost their first game in the Big Ten tournament?
History. Let me ask another thing, Bruce.
Yeah.
History. Arkansas has got like 6 Final Fours. They got a national championship, a runner-up to UCLA back-to-back years. We know about Kentucky. They're in Florida, back-to-back national championships and other Final Fours, like Lon Kruger, got there as well. They're a great team this year. They're going to win at least a couple of games, it looks like, in a tournament. But LSU has more history than Auburn, Alabama, Texas, and some of these others.
Tennessee.
Where Tennessee's never been to the Final Four. Where should LSU's basketball program rank in the SEC even at this time? Where should it rank?
I mean, historically or right now?
Where should what should the expectations be if everything was the slate was laid even? Okay, we're looking forward, looking for the next 5 to. I mean, it's all about the coach. I get it, but LSU could have hired Bruce Pearl. That's for damn sure. Yeah. I mean, they could have kept Will Wade. That's for damn sure. I mean, where should this program rank? Because it sucks right now.
Yeah, it should be making the tournament every year, and anything less than that is a failure. And Matt McMahon's got a problem right now, and especially with this is a real coaches' league now. I mean, you look just up and down, and Florida makes a home run higher with Golden. We know what Pearl has done there. Calipari bouncing around now. He's now Arkansas. I mean, everywhere you look in this league, I mean, it's big time coaches or Buzz Williams. I mean, and big time programs like Texas. I'm not sure I put Rodney Terry in that category, but here they are. I mean, they got a chance to run it into the tournament again. LSU's got to make the tournament. I think anything less than that is not meeting expectation, and certainly didn't this year. That's for sure.
Percy, what about the card today?
Very interesting. Couple of notes in some of these tournaments. We talked last week about the Missouri Valley, and so these games are going under, and it just went under all the way through the weekend. The rock fights yesterday happened in the Mountain West, and all four of those games not only went under, they all looked like the same game. You saw just grinding, half court, all those games in the 60s and 50s, nothing close to an over. So we got two of them tonight. Boise and New Mexico, and then CSU and Utah State in the nightcap. Boise and New Mexico, this is interesting. They played two pretty high-scoring games in the regular season. They split, but New Mexico, again yesterday, is really a grinder, a root canal against San Jose. They're under 5 straight in the Mountain West tournament since last year. They won this thing last year, really slowing down the pace. That's a characteristic of this tournament, sort of like the Missouri Valley. It's an under tournament. So they're putting that total up about 147 or so tonight, Boise and New Mexico. I think that's too high. And I might give Boise a look here tonight. That's the other thing. Some of these teams, you talked about Texas a minute ago, we know the urgency they're playing with this week. Boise's the same thing out in the Mountain West. I mean, they have come up to the cut line, but I still think they've got to probably win this tournament to get the bid on Selection Sunday. And I think they just might do it. New Mexico looks like it's in pretty good shape. They're going to probably get at large no matter what. So I would look at that angle, and wherever that fits today, I would look at that. The other thing we talked about last week, these teams, you brought the examples last year, Alabama, Tennessee, and the SEC. Sometimes playing 3 games in a row, or 4, some conferences, the week before the big dance, sometimes it's not always the best thing. So you wonder if somebody's going to get a little flat here today in the SEC. They're just tipping off at the Auburn-Ole Miss game. I'm not sure I'd put that game in that category because Ole Miss is also into the tournament. They had a thriller yesterday, so they might come out a little bit flat today. That would not surprise you. But here you go again, Texas, Tennessee coming up the second game in the SEC. You're giving Texas a lot of points here. They played Tennessee very close in the regular season. Tennessee's got its bid sewn up. Tennessee has been going out in this round the last 2 years, and last year they made it all the way to the Elite Eight.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think Texas I might just keep it here and see what happens.
I love Texas today. I mean, it's up to 10 right now, and this is they're just a little bit more effort on the defensive side of the floor. Terry, has he saved his job? Does he have to win a game in the NCAA tournament, Bruce?
Good question. I think it's teetering there. I'm just because it's Texas and you know what they want down there, and they're seeing everybody else win big here. I almost think he's got to get in the tournament and win a game because the expectations are very high there. They might do it though. I mean, and I think they win today. I think they're going to make it, and even if they don't, they're going to be right on the cut line. And
it's just a different team right now. They're playing at a different level. Yes. We see this sometimes in the tournament, in their bubble team, and they've just had this mature urgency type of finality type of approach. Yep. And I mean, they're battling. That was, they could have blown it, but they were probably the more deserving team. I agree with Massaro on that yesterday. So 10 is a lot. I mean, Tennessee and A&M are very close. Very close. So I like plus the 10 in that. I'm on Wisconsin against UCLA as well. You think Cronin's got the itch to get out of there? Boy, he has been vocal, to say the least, in his media availabilities this year.
Well, it's possible there. Listen, I don't wish anybody living in L.A., so, I mean, I could understand him wanting to get out. His deal is that he's got a very big buyout now. Now, that, if I'm not mistaken, though, that might reduce like after July 1, but that would be after they'd make a change. The job that comes up, he's been whispered about Indiana. I think they wouldn't mind bringing Cronin in there, but he does have this big buyout. We'll see. That game, that's right, UCLA, Wisconsin coming up in about an hour and a half here.
Yeah.
I like that one over, by the way, and I'm not liking a lot of overs in some of these tournaments. So this one, I could sort of see that way. They played a game 85-83 last month at Westwood, and the Northwestern slowed them down some yesterday. UCLA probably low 140s. I think that's low enough where this one might get over.
He ain't real happy with his travel agent. He doesn't like the excessive travel, which we all knew was going to be a problem.
And it's not uncommon for coaches to preach like we're at an unfair advantage. Yeah. Okay, understand that. But, man, he has been way more like it's been wow. It's just been from blasting the players to blasting some reporter asked if it's a disadvantage for the traditional Big Ten teams to come out west, or for the West, USC, UCLA to go to the traditional Big Ten locations, and he went bananas. Now, I mean, just like you can voice your opinion, but he was a jerk to this reporter,
and
he was a real a-hole.
And everything that is in Cronin's court right now is things he chose. He chose to take that job. He had it. He didn't get it.
But Charlie,
they chose to go into that league. He didn't.
No.
School
He didn't choose to go to UCLA when they had this current arrangement. That's not accurate.
Fair enough.
Okay,
no, that's
and that's
fair.
what he's bitching about the most.
Yeah.
Okay, so he might want to go to more of a traditional. He might go to Indiana. He might think it's more advantageous for those schools, but this is out of character for him, and maybe. Brucey, we all get old and crankety, huh? Crankety. I mean, maybe, but it is noticeable how he is not happy.
He's mad.
Yeah,
he's just mad.
No, well, except me, I'm never crankety. You know that. But,
that's right, Brucey.
But one note about Cronin, and all your points you guys make are true, but the difference between now, Eric Musselman was sort of complaining about this too, but he's got a lot less leverage in this argument, because when Musselman took the SC job, he knew that Big Ten move was already on the table.
Right.
Cronin was there. Right. Cronin was there before the Big Ten stuff even started. So he's got a little bit more of a legitimate complaint if he is going to complain about that. Musselman should never complain about that, because he took the job knowing, and he has complained some about it this year. But he took that job knowing that.
Cronin have more stock than Musselman?
Ooh.
Yes, I think right now he does.
I mean,
Cronin's
got a Final Four under his belt in a tough loss to Gonzaga in there. I mean, he's, but Musselman's Musselman's not making a tournament this year. But I mean, you give him a pass his first year when he inherited, but
right. And multiple teams. Cronin's been multiple teams.
I think Cronin's got a little bit more.
Yeah.
What's that?
I do too. I think Musselman's jumped. It's about a 4 or 5 year max with him there. And he's jumped around. He's been a little more steady, in his jobs. He's lasted longer. So I do think you're right. I think Cronin's got a little bit more.
Well, in my next life, Brucey, I want to work for Arizona State. Me and Charlie both.
Oh,
there's low expectations there, huh?
Yeah,
what is up with that school? Huh? I mean, is it because they're, this is an old term, but page 11E in a sports page? Because all the professional organizations there from the Big Four.
Well, this is interesting because there was a point in my lifetime when Arizona State was it down there, and the Suns were the first major team to come in, and they do not. Vegas has sort of become like that. By the way, UNLV is pushed way off the front pages now because of the pro leagues in there now. And ASU is way down the pecking order now in Phoenix. So their fundraising isn't quite what it had been long ago either. They used to their facilities 40 years ago were as good as anybody's in the country, and man, they've been bypassed by a lot of schools in the last few decades.
Charlie and I were trying to guess. I know it's substantial, but what do you think the percentage of their student body is from California?
ASU?
Yeah.
Oh God. Well, I would say, but it's such a big school. I mean, their enrollment's over 40,000. So
it's 60. It's 60, Bruce. 60. No, we looked it up.
Yeah. It's over 50. Yeah. I mean, but you got to remember, there's a lot of people around the Phoenix area right now. A lot. That's bigger than Vegas. A lot bigger. So it might be a little less than we think from California, but still a pretty good slug. Listen, I know a lot of Californians at Arizona, too. They go down to Tucson and even northern Arizona. There's a bunch that go there. But you're right, there are a lot of Californians at ASU, too.
Bruce, you think that UNLV, where would UNLV be if they were still good? Even if Tarkanian was in his prime, with these pro teams in Las Vegas, where would the Rebels be? Because I want to know if they're off the front page in Vegas because of these pro teams or just because they're bad.
A little both, Charlie. They do have a new AD in there who did not hire Kruger and is not as loyal to this. I think job this year because of all the injuries that he had. But you can tell he's got the taste of this to go out and get a bigger name. He did it in football. Mariota worked out very well. They brought in Dan Mullen now to be the new football coach, and I think Mullen's got the same blueprint in mind as Odom did. I'm going to try to win here. Then I'm going to use that way to hop back into a major job. Basketball-wise, I think the new AD there is going to look to make a splash. I would not be surprised because he sees it too on the sports pages there. That city is now Golden Knights, Raiders, and here come the A's too, and the NBA might not be far behind. So they're around there in Vegas for the variety of reasons.
Any more picks for today's card, Brucey?
Yeah, watch some of these games in the American. We mentioned Memphis earlier. They're coming up. Actually, they just started that game against Wichita. I was going to give Wichita a look there. There's a game in the MEAC tonight playing in Norfolk. A couple of games there. The heavily favored teams, Norfolk State and South Carolina State, both really struggled yesterday, and they got what could be tough games tonight. Norfolk State's laying a lot of points to Morgan State, which beat them once this year. I know it's in Norfolk at the Scope, but this is a close tournament, and these teams that are favored, collar gets kind of tight, so I might look at Morgan State there. Out to the big two more, Purdue and Michigan. Michigan is 2-13. Its last 15 against the spread, boys. And I think I had January, I thought this team had Final Four potential. They have too much devolved into a two-man game with Wolf and Golden, the 2 7-footers running that screen and roll stuff.
Really? This Wolf deal has driven me crazy this year. I've been on this for months, Bruce. Go ahead, continue. I'm sorry.
Well, what's happened in the last month and a half, that at the expense of everybody else. Look at Trey Donaldson's numbers the last last month or so. He's a third-leading scorer, and he can't get double digits any night now. I mean, he's way off, and it's just too much of that two-man game. I think Purdue probably gets them tonight. And Michigan, like I said, has been a real money burner for a while here. So Purdue may be in that one. One other one, a couple ones out in the West. Like I said, Boise. I'm going to give Boise a shot. I think they're going to win this tournament. Now, Cardenas, the transfer guard from San Jose State, the point guard, very cool. I think New Mexico peaked, and that's that old thing we talked about. Boise really needs this. Maybe an under in that one, too. And how about the Big West? Watch this Cal Poly. I know everybody's saying UCI and UCSD. That's sort of preordained in the Big West. Maybe, but UCI is laying a lot of points. Cal Poly is very hot right now. I saw them a few weeks ago up in San Luis Obispo play UCSD pretty competitively. They can score. I think this is going to be a close game tonight. I'd take the points in the late one in the Big West with the Mustangs from Cal Poly.
Mustangs. No, the Wolf deal. I was just asking. Charlie can attest, and some other guests as well. What does he make? We like him as a coach. I mean, he's going to win. He embraces the new way and things like that. Of course, the Florida Atlantic Final Four. You get a lot of mileage out of that. And he's got this team in the tournament in the first year. All that's good. But I'm just puzzled. Watching this 7-foot, 245-pound, point center. just handle the ball. And they run everything through him. And he has how many Division I teams we got now, Bruce? It's 364?
360, yeah.
How many?
Yeah.
How many is it?
I think it's 363.
Okay, 363.
363, yeah.
Tell me another predominant ball handler in the country of 363 that has a 1-to-1 assist-to-turnover ratio. 364, Max? There you go. I knew it was about a gross, but anyway. The 364, this is just a turnover machine. It just, and listen, yes, for a big guy in his size, can he pass pretty good? Yes, he makes some highlight passes sometimes, but it's too far and few between. It's just an odd, I thought he was going to have patience with it because it's such a different look, but it is puzzling how he just lets this guy handle the ball so much. He's going between us. He's 7-footer. He came from Yale. I mean, he's not Magic Johnson. He's Wolf.
You're right.
He's not Joker either.
For a while, that confused some of the teams Michigan was playing because you hadn't seen this too much of the big guy out there handling the ball. But once the Big Ten, they started the blitz out there and blitz that screen and roll. He's throwing the ball away too much, and like I said, it's just and Michigan keeps doing it like that, and they haven't really altered it, and that's why I think they're going out tonight.
Even in that 6-game winning streak, or 8 of 9, they came short of the number a lot. This week. Brucey, enjoy championship week. We'll talk to you live from Biloxi at the Beau Rivage next week during our stay for March Madness. We certainly look forward to it. Good luck this weekend, Bruce.
Have fun, boys. Thank you.
All right, we got some updates too, and maybe some dogs will bounce back today. It's got a few of them now. No problem. It's going according to form. VCU, the Rams. Some people say they might not be an at-large. By far the best team in the Atlantic 10. 64-52. 4.5 minutes to go. 4.5 minutes to go. So right on the number there. But Michigan State was up 10.5. It was cut to 1. Now it is back out to 3. 46-43, 14.5 to go there. Kennesaw State, a dog barking here, 6.5-point dog, up 9.5 against Liberty. And who's winning this pace, Auburn or Ole Miss? Well, 11:59 to go. Ole Miss 11, Auburn 9. That is Chris Beard's pace there. And don't forget our friends at Town Square Pizza. You downtown, you got friends or family coming in, staying downtown for this weekend or any weekend within walking distance of all the major hotels downtown. Town Square Pizza. Grab a pizza. It's quick. It's good. It's piping hot. You make it. You see them prepare exactly what you want. Or you can order one of their specialty pies and it's shaped square-shaped pizza. Charlie loved the king cakes during Mardi Gras. Yeah. Even brought up to Franklin over there.
Hit.
But piping hot, fresh, good, and affordable. Town Square Pizza, downtown facing Town Square.
Lenardi's got VCU in as an 11 seed.
Oh, he does?
At the start of today's play. We'll take a break. Live at lunch from Rufino's 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny from Rufino's on Highland Road on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Show's always available on demand. LouisianaSports.net, 104.5ESPN.com. Handycast on YouTube. Around LSU baseball, who starts conference play today. Game moved up to 4:30 for both baseball and softball. Baseball against Missouri, softball against Kentucky. They're trying to steer around some late-night weather, so they're starting at 4:30. Missouri, as bluntly as I can put it, in non-conference play, has been the worst team in the SEC. They were 8-8 in non-conference play. That includes losses to Penn State, to Stetson, to Alabama State. They lost to Evansville twice. They lost to Binghamton twice. They are last in the SEC in fielding percentage. They are near the bottom in most of the offensive categories. They're 14th in home runs, 14th in doubles, 11th in batting average. There's not much that they have done really well. We've talked about LSU. They've been an excellent defensive club for the last 8-9 games. They have been hitting throughout the lineup. The starting pitching has been good. We're looking for maybe a little bit of a longer outing out of Chase Shores in Game 3, but that has been very good. The bullpen's developed nicely. Zach Cowan and Kason Evans have been really, really good. They've got other arms out there. Maverick Rizzi has certainly flashed. But they have, and then William Schmidt, who is now a bullpen arm for them on the weekends. Jay Johnson's telling the morning guys, or excuse me, I think it was Matt Show yesterday, that they don't plan to throw him very much, if at all, in the middle of the week anymore. Now that conference play has started, and Schmidt's going to be one of the most important guys for them. So they held him to 14 pitches the other night. He's good to go this weekend too. So LSU will be a heavy favorite in these games. Doesn't mean that they'll always win. It is baseball. Missouri will throw 3 left-handed starting pitchers at them. Tonight's starter, or this afternoon's starter, Ian Loesch, with an ERA over 5, as is their Saturday starter. The Sunday starter's actually got the best ERA at 3.43. But LSU will be a significant favorite in these games. Max, wind blowing out today at the box?
13 to 19 miles per hour out to left and left center, so do with that what you will. I've already seen the total actually bump up a little bit over our friend at the Queen, from 13 to 14. So just do with that what you will. But, we might see some balls leave the yard out to left field.
It's a tall total for a Friday game when you've got aces going, but Missouri's ace has not been very good. But when you add in the wind blowing out, the ball will be jumping at the box this afternoon. So that's what's going on with LSU baseball and softball this afternoon, starting at 4:30.
You got weekend rotations set?
Yeah, I do.
So that Missouri's
Missouri.
Any guys that started in their rotation last year? It's all new.
The guy that's starting game 1 was a bullpen guy that threw against LSU last year. He threw 3 shutout innings at LSU last year as a reliever.
Missouri can be tricky. What's their expectations this year?
They're the worst team in the SEC.
Ooh. Ooh. I never did get back to you on the Xavier game, huh? Same thing, right?
Oh,
Xavier played a really good team and lost, right?
They had played. They played Tennessee. They played Vandy. They'd actually beaten Stanford twice, at Stanford, which wasn't bad.
Okay. How good is Stanford? Supposed to be good this year? I mean, I know their program.
They usually are. I'd be lying to you if I told you I knew much about Stanford. I'm kind of going on reputation there. They were handled in their games against Tennessee and Vanderbilt. They were handled. Hell, LSU scored a touchdown in the first inning and another touchdown in the third inning. It was 17-0 in this game. Field goal in the second. So it was pretty much over very early.
One thing about these tournament games that have been a trend. One thing we know, whether it's whatever, they've been streaky. You know, the BYU Iowa State game, that Max's double scoop, super steam, in game second half total.
5-star frog splash over the weight.
It was actually had a little bit of kind of out of nowhere, looked like a dead loser, but they had a little sweat at the end. And here's another decision: Iowa State's down 6 with 11 seconds to go. This is not brain surgery. You don't shoot a 2.
No, gosh. We were watching that game together.
Come on, man.
Yeah.
I mean, this is really.
Doing the rewinding yesterday.
Come on, man. I mean, and so, but the streaks, and when you get a streak, when a team gets on a streak and they look really good, be patient, grasshopper. You may want to go the other side. Bet the boomerang. Bet the bounce bet. Here we go. Michigan State gets out to a 10-point lead. What's the end game there? About 11.5, 12. Here, Oregon gets it down to 1. It goes down to 5.5. Now it's back out to 11. It's back to 12.5. My point is, these are like stocks, man. It's been very streak heavy. And, yes, 23 of the 25 major conference teams, the chalk won outright, not necessarily covered, but one outright. That's a much higher number than usual, where the motivation is almost like the underdog doesn't want to end their season right there. When the favorite is bigger games in next week in a big tournament. So, but still, these games have been really, really streaky. So, anyway, Charlie, total maintenance. Using the air conditioning?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Don't go.
But is
don't
it
go
really
to
stressing? Is anybody breaking their air conditioning? It's lightly used.
No, it's been very nice weather here.
It's kind of like getting on a stationary bike and your resistance is, I don't know, maybe a 2 or something. You
know, you could spin it like
right. But when we get, is the heat coming?
Yes.
Okay.
Guaranteed.
And then you work that thing over and over, and guess what? Some of them just aren't maintenance properly to handle it. That's why you call Total Maintenance at 480-1000. That's why you call them now before we really stress these units. Beat the jump. You're already using your AC unit now, but when you really use it, It's going to lower. We're going to clean it. It's going to run more efficiently. It's going to lower your monthly bills. It's going to prevent you from more costly, serious repairs later on as well. And you save $100 right now. All you have to do is mention Max's Super Double Scoop, Super Steam, second half. No, just mention Jimmy Ott, Max Gotro, Fadinky, Hanny, whoever. Mention Barry the bartender. Just mention Live at Lunch, ESPN Radio, and it's just $79 instead of $179. $79 instead of $179. The girls answering the phones. Oh, well, we're waiting on your call. 480-1000. Schedule that AC maintenance at one-time AC visit right now for a great savings, and it's going to spare you some inconvenience and some more money later on in the hot summer months.
Live at Rufino's, Live at Lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at Lunch with Ott and Hanny from Rufino's on Highland Road on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
We're brought to you also in part by Louisiana Health and Injury Centers, helping you deal with pain. Dr. Michael Goff and his staff done a great job for us over the years. Back pain, neck pain, things that are keeping you from getting around as well as you'd like or keeping you from getting a good night's sleep. Let them help you out. They'll target those problem areas, get you to feeling better. Dry needling, external nerve nerve stimulation, cryotherapy, some of your ultrasound therapies. They'll find out what's wrong with you. They get you to feeling better, and that's what it's all about. Airline Highway, Plank Road, Jefferson Highway near Drusilla. Dr. Michael Goff, Louisiana Health and Injury Centers. Jimmy asked Bruce, what's a realistic expectation for LSU basketball? And then you went into the historical about the other teams in the Southeastern Conference. So,
not that history is a resource, but it's something.
It's something to go on. So I went back 25 years, going back, counting this season to the 2001 season. How many times has LSU made the tournament in the last 25 years? Just out of your head.
How many times has LSU made the tournament in the last 25 years?
Yes.
5?
7, okay. And that's about what I had. And the COVID years canceled, so they would have made it that year. So
yeah, Willie Way was here at the time.
If you want to say 8, okay. So that's roughly a third of the time, okay, through four different. 8 out of 25, roughly.
8. You count?
I'm going to count the COVID year. Okay.
Yeah.
8 out of 25 through 4 coaches. Okay, and we agree that they can do better than that, right? That they can do better than 8. I don't know that they should make the tournament every year. That'll be the expectation.
No.
But
that's
realistically, 60% of the time, make
more
the tournament.
Than that. No, you got to split the difference with Bruce. He was trying to say, with the especially in the current landscape, you should be making a tournament 75% of the time. How much of the and we talked about they have more history. They don't have as good of a coach as some of the other schools right now. Pretty much all of the schools. But the thing is, 14 of 16 is not. That is an outlier. Everything had to fall perfect. Okay. They had to be really good. But Charlie, now moving forward, 70% of your team's going to make the tournament.
Well. Let's go back to the 25 years before that. This is 75 to 2000.
Dale had the 10 in a row.
Dale had the 10 in a row. How many times do you think in those 25 years that they made the tournament?
17?
15. So
okay.
you're close. 60% of the time. That's the golden era of LSU basketball, those 10 straight that Dale made from 79 to really through Shaquille's end in 92. They had 2 NITs mixed in there, but they made the postseason every year, and they made the big tournament 11 out of 13. That was, and even into Gert Hammock's
but when we're talking about, don't confuse people. 10 straight NCAA tournaments,
right?
Okay, not NITs and there, not postseason. No,
they made 10 straight NCAAs, and then they had made 3 straight Sweet 16. I'm sorry. Yeah, 3 straight Sweet 16s from 79 to 81.
I'm sorry, NIT unless it's your first year, and NIT's a fail. I don't like to even. Okay. I mean, that's a fail to me. I'm sorry. And I think you should make it. I think the more realistic one, Charlie, is about 65, 70%, 2/3 or, 2/3. Listen, we got great free throw shooters. There's never been 100% free throw shooter. There's never been a program that's going every year to the tournament. Okay, right. So 100% is a little strong by Bruce, but what's realistic?
They ever achieve that kind of hit rate.
Yes, but it's different now, Charlie.
Yes, it is.
Okay,
that's kind of where I'm going with this.
You got the Xavier coach. You got Big East coaches. They want to get in the SEC. You got ACC coaches. When the ACC coach dying to get into the SEC?
The SEC is going to put 10 more teams in the ACC in the tournament. 10 more.
The SEC is, Will knows he can get the NC State job right now. He wants an SEC. Will want to open up. Will Beard leave? Texas might be back. I don't know. I don't think it's done yet, but he's sure helping himself. He did the first part. He had to get to the tournament. Now he's probably got to win a game. But he did the first part. And so, Georgia's safe. Arkansas is the first-year coach, of course, there. And you think Moser's safe now? I think so.
Yeah.
I think so.
I do.
So what's opening up? Nothing.
No, because
South Carolina would have fired their coach already, right? They made it to the tournament last year. They're not firing him.
Right.
And LSU's already come out and basically said, we're just going to double you. So there might not be one job that opens up in the SEC if Beard stays put. But and part of that is, why might I say, because it's in the SEC. The SEC. People want your job. Really good coaches. If you fired McMahon today, you change your mind, you can go get Sean Miller today. Not even close. Not one bit. No doubter. No doubter.
And there's the possibility with this program. I just gave you some numbers about the tournament. The last 25 years, SEC championships. Okay, a couple of these are shared, but over the course, Kentucky has the most. Over the last 25 years, they've won 7. Florida's won 5. Mm-hmm. LSU's won 3. That's tied with most. Alabama for third. Yeah. That's more than Tennessee. Yeah. That's more than Auburn. Mississippi State's won once, and A&M shared one. It can be done here. And if you got to be beat over the head that you got to go raise some money, like I said, read Deli's piece about they had to raise money.
Give us a short of it, instead of us reading it for 30 minutes. They know it's long.
They had to go out. They had to go out and find a Baton Rouge native that's a billionaire in Silicon Valley who is an LSU fan. Didn't go to school here. His brother did, but he went to Harvard and I think it was Dartmouth. He is a billionaire multi times over, and they called him last year when they lost Underwood and said, "We need help." And he wrote him a check, and he got some other people to write him a check, and they raised.
It's called ABC, an alumni by choice, and LSU has some of these.
And that's what this guy is.
Yes,
he's worth
so
$4 billion.
Hey, we'll give you special treatment, give you sideline pet, whatever. We'll give you, some access or whatever. With the normal booster treatment. Be a friend of the program type of deal. But no, then you gotta go. And listen, there's been some, and it forces you to tighten up and spend more wisely. LSU's not alone as far as SEC athletic programs that have not spent money wisely, and we don't. Just the buyouts and the coaches is that's just but is that wise spending?
Some of these contract extensions have been absolutely crazy.
Okay.
You go from contract extension to hot seat in 4 months, not 4 years, 4 months.
And it's so they have to, and that's when they started to make the suites in the or the club set level. People had the big blocks of tickets in their tradition fund. It wasn't going to be tax deductible anymore or something, or your contributions to the LSU athletic department, whether it's TAF, were not tax deductible. They said, well, no, we need this, and the SEC went to the Congress and said, wait, y'all don't have y'all got a spending problem. Yeah. No. Y'all gotta no. We're not gonna dig you. Y'all gotta do a little better job on your end on this stuff. So it's it's in Charlie too. When I talked about LSU how they're going to handle this, and you say, and your point was, well, the money's never been a problem before. Until it is a problem, I want to see it. We don't have live money. Okay, we got to operate more efficiently because there is a finite number.
I'll give you the one quote that would have stood out to everybody. Last year, Ole Miss outspent LSU on football dollars. On football spending by I think it was 1 million, maybe a little bit more than a
Don't
million.
forget my buddies over at the routine this weekend. Hit the Queens, Saturday, and do it all day. And then on the way home in the evening, hit over at Los Reyes. Love going to Los Reyes. A great, fresh Mexican, extensive menu from the fajitas to the burritos to the tacos to the Mexican pizza. My favorite guacamole, the outstanding fresh coffee, and a great bar as well. TVs. Mr. Kyle, Mr. Scott do a great job over there. Make you feel at home. If you haven't been, go by and check it out. You got some tournaments going on this weekend down the street at Traction or something like that. Hey, bring the whole team over there. Call ahead of time so we can have the big table ready for you. And when you get your bill, you don't get that sticker shock as well. It's my place, man. On the way home on Saturdays in the Queen, Los Reyes Mexican Grill on Lee, just off of Nicholson, across from Mike Anderson. Give you a few picks when we come back, Charlie.
Live at Rufino's Live at Lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch.
The Thibodeau store getting into spring, time to get the yard and the garden up to speed. Turf builders on the website are on special right now. Garden hoses, lawn tools, garden tools, all of your wheelbarrows, all of your weed eaters, your lawnmowers, all of them. You got a lot of these specials that are available on the website right now at ThibodeauStore.com. Once you get the yard going, it's time to, well, what else are you going to add outside? The grill. Find the perfect grill right now from a number of the top name brands, including Blackstone, and the Big Green Egg cookers are available at the Thibodeau store too. Many of these items are available for delivery at ThibodeauStore.com, including your Cajun cooking specialty cookware shipped right to your door. 900 St. Patrick Highway in Thibodaux, and online is ThibodeauStore.com.
Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny from Rufino's on Highland Road on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
All right, here we go. Texas playing way better defense right now. Trey Johnson, lottery pick. They're on a roll right there. First part of the job is done for Rodney Terry, but Texas plus 9.5 or 10 against an offensively challenged team. I'll take them against Tennessee. Wisconsin against UCLA, minus 1.5 against UCLA. They impressed me again. Backdoor Northwestern cover, but give me the Badgers minus 1.5. Like Maryland as well, minus a soft number here as well, minus 1. Much more dependable team than the Fighting Illini. Illini is talented. We hear that a lot, I know, but they're not nearly as consistent as the Maryland Terrapins. Creighton and UConn. This game should be a pick, in my opinion. 4.5. I'll take it, of course, buy it to 5. Bet Rivers offers you that buy onto the whole number that we utilize a lot. And then Texas Tech. Texas Tech and Arizona, a number that puzzles me again. I think Texas Tech is considerably better than Arizona. Only laying 1.5 here. Buy it to 1 little 5-pack for you today in college.
You like
hoops.
BYU?
I'm betting BYU, yes.
Okay, BYU
yes,
is well.
yes.
Make it a 6-pack. Make it a 6-pack. So BYU.
Go ahead, Charlie.
BYU.
That's fine. That's fine.
Thanks to everybody for participating. And our hosts here at Rufino's on Monday. We will be at the Queen, and the field of 68 will be set. For Jordan, Max, Jimmy, I'm Charles. Thank you and good afternoon. Stay tuned for the new dad, Hunt Palmer, on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.